Welcome to the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast. I'm Mike Davis.
And I'm Shawn Mills.
And we're here to talk about everything real estate
and the great outdoors
in both Virginia
and North Carolina.
Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast. We're glad you're here. And I'm Mike Davis.
I'm Shawn Mills.
And we are going to just jump right into the next story on our 2023 hunting season. This one's going to go a little out of order. I think originally I had planned to kind of go chronologically, but this story kind of came about this past weekend. And
well, November's a crazy month, so I mean it's hard to just throw it in when something like that happens.
It is. We felt this one was kind of a cool story, so we just wanted to skip ahead and get right to it. So with that being said,
yeah.
Tell how that got started.
I was going to name it Redemption, but I think you said Lost and Found.
Lost and Found.
Either way, just give you an idea. Yeah. But it November 15th, and we all know that time of year anything can happen. Well, it started off as a day I was coming into work to work hard that day and put in my normal hard day of work. And Mike was here early. I mean, anyway.
My wife already thinks that I don't work, so I appreciate you reinforcing that idea. That's great. Thanks.
That's what I'm here for, buddy. Showed up and Mike said, hey, you want to go hunting this afternoon? What kind of question is that? Yeah, of course I want to go hunting. So I left work after being here for 5 minutes, went home 30 minutes from here, grabbed my hunting gear, grabbed a stand, got back here, and that's where our journey began. And
that it is. So it was November 15th, like Shawn said, and that is right in the thick of muzzleloading season. But for those of y'all that listen to the podcast, know that...
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, we do appreciate that. And even though it's muzzleloading season, I like to keep bow hunting because that is just my favorite of all things. So Shawn, he didn't have to, but he decided, hey, if Mike's bow hunting...
You think I'm going to let Mike show me out there with a bow and I'm out there with a smoke pole? Not going to happen. No, sir. No.
All right. So originally, I was planning on hunting this section of hardwoods that had a little kind of a funnel pinch point in it, and
Turkey Ridge.
That's kind of what I call it. But there were some food plots further back on the farm that I hadn't really hunted a whole lot, so kind of had the idea, let's go back there and see what we can do on those food plots. I already had one stand set up that I was going to use, but Shawn brought his hanging stand, and we were going to put that in another close by food plot. So that was kind of the plan. So we go out there, we kind of left early so we could get this stand set up, and Shawn is getting his ladder set up, and I'm sawing branches.
I'm already up the tree, by the way, on that too.
Yeah, you were yeah. About. I'm pretty sure you were on the top.
Yeah, I was on the top
section of the ladder. All of a sudden, snap, and the strap that goes around the tree holding the step.
Yep, dry rotted.
Basically, had dry rotted, and so as soon as he went to tighten it, boom.
Yep. Now, you get our age, that's a red flag. When I was younger, I might have been a little stupid on that one, but no, it was a no-go.
Yeah. So, thankfully, you had the lineman's rope, I think,
yeah.
Harness and everything, which, I mean, you didn't fall anyway, but still, it could have been kind of sketchy. So, we weren't ready to give up at that point. So, no. Shawn came back down, and we were kind of figuring out where we could get an extra strap from because we kind of still wanted to stick with that idea. And I said, well, let's just take the strap off the bottom one.
Yep.
That's already kind of secure anyway. And we'll exchange that one to the top one. So if that is a really bad and unsafe idea, don't let us know. But that's kind of what we were going to do. And sure enough, that strap broke too.
Yeah.
And so that was really our sign that was like, hey.
Yeah.
This one ain't going to work out here today.
It's something, though, when stuff like that happens in my past, it seems like it's going to be a good day. Once you make it through that, it's almost like just, I don't know what it is, but if you have something crazy happen like that, it's always a good story afterwards for some reason.
Yeah,
for me, it is.
I don't know if you want to call it fate, but it certainly seems like the universe was kind of guiding us back to like, hey,
and
let's go back to that original idea.
Mike had one on camera he's been chasing for a while now. It was a nighttime picture, but it was close enough. But I mean, this deer is that one that he has been after. And so as soon as this buck shows up on camera, next thing is like, oh, we're going back to this food plot. He's on camera. Something still told me we need to stay in that area. And that's one of those things that we all go through that back and forth. Who's right? Who's wrong? You don't. It's no right answer.
Yeah.
It's just that gut feeling.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, and we had our climbers, and so and that Turkey Ridge, he took me there turkey hunting during the spring, and his whole farm is beautiful. But I mean, it was just something about it. You had not hunted that this year. You told me that already. I'd already killed a buck. You'd already killed a buck on that food plot, which obviously is a great spot, but just changing it up a little bit. And it's something about going to a new spot where it's just, I don't know, it's fresh.
Yeah. So the universe told us to change plans, so that is what we did.
Yeah.
We went back to Turkey Ridge, and Shawn had his climber, like he said. I took my climber in, and of course, being the great friend that I am, I let Shawn have the spot that I was going to go to.
Appreciate that.
And then I went up further on the ridge to a little plateau above it, and we were just going to kind of.
I still can't believe you didn't see more deer in front of that corn feeder, though. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, you know, that's usually, I've always heard. I mean, I've never hunted in front of one, but I mean.
This guy. So, you know, we go in the woods. I tell him where to go. And
holds my hand, walks me down there.
That's right. And then
he's like, go over there 20 yards into that way, and I'm going.
So, you know, I have this thing, you know, where when I go to my stand and I get up in the tree and all that stuff, you know, like I text my wife and I'm like, okay, here's where I'm at. I'm in the tree safe, letting her know what's going on. Well, I wanted to check on Shawn, so I'm like, hey, you know, text him, hey, you good, buddy? No answer, nothing. Another few minutes go by. I'm like, well, you know, maybe he's getting situated. We'll give him a few minutes. You know, he's you know, not nearly the athlete that I am, so it probably took him longer to get up the tree than it did me. So I gave him a few more minutes. Text him again. Hey, buddy, you okay? You good? Nothing. No answer. And I'm like, at that point, seriously, I'm getting like worried. This dude done fell out the tree. Something's going on. And I'm like, I mean, do I keep hunting? Do I just go look for him later?
I was on a level of Monopoly at the time that I just was not going to interrupt to talk to you. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, long story short, I mean, I was worried about you, but not enough to like give up on the hunt and come looking for you. I'm like, well, if he's laying there, he'll be there when the hunt's over. I'm going to find him.
Yeah.
But apparently, Shawn's cell phone was not picking up.
No, I had no service there. So we. Not the worst thing though. I mean, really, it's with our job especially.
Yeah,
I mean, it's nice to sometimes have that dead zone.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun, you know, where we can communicate like
what's going on.
Here's what I'm seeing, or did you
the
hear
fact that you see those going through the creek bottom.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. So we were seeing all kinds of cool things.
Yeah.
You know, I had a little small buck come in. I heard some turkeys down towards Shawn's way. I didn't see them, but you saw them.
I had the turkeys roosting right there in front of me, and that was my entertainment for the day. That squirrels. He has got by far the most trophy property for squirrel hunting I've ever been on in my life.
Except for when you actually go squirrel hunting.
I have to try it still. I can't imagine.
Well, through all that, you know, there was activity, but I was, you know, up on this upper ridge, and I could see down to the lower creek bottom on the other side. And I just heard this crashing coming through, and I glance over, and it's probably 100 yards away, but I could just see two deer just hauling butt down the creek bottom, and they're going to circle around, and they're going to head right towards Shawn.
Then all of a sudden, I mean, that's when it all started happening. I had this doe come, I mean, when I say barreling, it looked like she was going to face plant when she crossed the creek. Runs up the hill, and this is all within probably about, I'd say 75 yards of me, where she came up the hill, went straight into the field, and the whole time we all know that feeling. We're like, okay, where's he at? Here he comes. Where is he at? It seemed like it took 15 minutes. It probably took 3. Here he comes, and he did come right there at the same pattern she did. And I was like, I'm not going to have a shot at 75 yards. He's panting. All of a sudden, he starts heading my direction. And it closes about 10 yards, turns broadside, starts heading towards Mike. And all I can see is, I mean, I could tell it was a solid 10-pointer. And at that point, I mean, I've already judged the yardage there, and I picked him up right there at 35 yards. I said, if he comes to this spot, well, actually it was 2 spots. First spot he came to, he went through it too fast. Bo pulled back the whole time. Second spot he comes to, I didn't even have time to go back. He stopped just right, shot, saw the kick, heard the swack. He takes about 5 steps standing there, and it's that feeling of fall. Come on, buddy, fall. stood there going back and forth. Any minute, I'm like, he's going to fall. Nope, nothing. Heard something behind me. Turned around for a second, looked behind me, looked in front of me. I could see him walking through the woods, and I mean, at that point, I said, it's not going to be too much further. It's going to be over with. Well, gave it the time, got there right at dark.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
But, it's funny when you're in the woods that, I actually was not that far from you. I don't even know if I was a full 100 yards from you. I thought it was, but when we actually got down, it wasn't. But I actually heard the shot. I heard it hit. And I could hear the deer scramble, but I couldn't see it. So that was kind of wild.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh man,
That's the power of the bow check, buddy.
Yeah. Of course, I couldn't text him and be like, what's going on? What'd you get? What'd you get?
That is. And you could have gave me a heads up too. They were coming. I mean, that was.
If you were there.
Well, I waited. I mean, I was trying to give him time to hunt because this all happened. What time do you think it was?
I don't know. We still had some daylight, and
I need to give him time anyway. I knew that. But.
Yeah, and I still was. Even after that, I was still seeing some deer.
Yeah.
Caught glimpses of a couple does running around it, and really wasn't looking for a doe that day. But there was still activity, all around, and then basically it got dark.
Yeah, and then this part of the story I've actually negotiated with Mike so he would let me tell this part because it's going to drive him crazy me telling this part. But I've got to tell it exactly how it happened, word for word.
This ought to be good.
Yeah, you better take a sip.
I better take a sip.
All right, come down out the stand, go over there to see if I've got blood. Yes, sir, I do. Found the arrow, found the blood, and all of a sudden, I heard this little whimper of, help, help. I mean, I'm like, is there a little girl in the woods right now? I was like, where is she? I mean, this is a bad moment. Well, there's my little buddy up there. I could see his light hollering for help. So, how many yards were you from that spot probably? I mean, it wasn't far, but it was,
40?
Yeah.
50?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I went to the spot, and all I could see was his little legs up there dangling. I mean, kicking. And then I saw the bottom of his platform all the way towards the bottom of the tree. I mean, about 10 foot off the ground. I couldn't touch it, but, well, so that turned into a rescue mission. All right, you can go ahead now, buddy. Okay. Did I get it all right?
I mean, you were close. You were close. The little faint, help was more like, oh, bleep, oh, bleep.
How did this happen to me? Why?
Yeah. So, hopefully, any of y'all out there that have used a climbing stand have not had this happen to you. But
I think you're the only one, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We've all heard the story. So.
And I actually go through the precaution of keeping a strap to connect my upper and lower climber at all times so that this doesn't happen. But for whatever reason, when that gave way, I guess I kind of dropped, and I don't know if it was just a freak thing, but the clip that was holding the strap actually broke. So then that bottom just boom, and I was, like Shawn said, I was just dangling.
Scary thing. I mean, really. We can laugh at it now, but at the time I wasn't.
It really was. I was thankful that I actually, caught myself on the upper platform, and I did have my harness, and I was still strapped to the tree. I stayed connected to the tree the whole time, and that certainly, played a part in making sure that, because that could have ended very badly. I was still easily 20 feet up in the air. But
the thing about if you know this guy, when this all happened, once he figured out that he was okay and he was stuck in a tree, I mean, he's fine. I mean, it was a hard decision for him to call me for help, period. I know I'm hunting with him, but still, of all people, I'm the last person.
Yeah, I seriously thought about just cutting my headlamp off and just not answering Shawn at all, just like he'll finally just go away, and I'll call somebody else to come get me in the morning. Like, I was almost that bad because I knew the amount of grief that this guy was going to give me. He
almost got his truck stuck on the listing one time, and he said if he'd have got stuck, he'd have left his truck.
I'd have just walked and bought a new truck, and that's it. Before I called him to get me unstuck because of stories like this. What a guy. Yeah. What a guy. But no, seriously, I was very thankful he was there because it was a tough predicament. There was no easy way out of that. That platform was a good 10 or 12 feet below me. So,
And most of us have these tree stand stories. I mean, unfortunately, I fell out of a tree stand before safety harnesses really took off, and all of us were we were hammering 2x4s in trees at that time.
Right.
But it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
really.
we joke about it, but,
the harness,
man, is where it's at.
Yeah. And check your equipment.
Yeah. Again, going back to the dry rotted straps, there's another reason to, if you leave your hang-on stands up all year, you make sure you check them before the hunting season starts, because there are stories out there that did not end as well. So I feel very fortunate. At the end of the day, I'm glad Shawn was there, that he actually had to go get his climber. He had to come over there, and he had to climb up the tree.
That's when I started filming, by the way, for our little videos. I waited till then. I don't want y'all to think I'm a complete asshole. I'm just going to say. So I waited till that point, but then
the TikTok video's out there.
Yeah.
Be sure to look at it. It's there. I'm helpless. Not much I can do about it. He had me dead right. He did.
All right, we'll get from. Okay.
All right, so very thankful to have my buddy there. I was able to get out of the tree safe and sound. My wife still does not know about that story, by the way. She's probably not going to watch. That's okay. So we go back to Shawn's arrow finally, and the good news is all of that distraction gave the deer extra time.
Yeah.
So really, it was just a ploy to keep Shawn from really going to push his buck too early. But we go back, we find the arrow, we find the blood, and had a blood trail.
Yeah. And it wasn't a great blood trail, but it was a decent one. It was one of them things, there it is, getting excited.
Yep.
And
then a couple spots better than others.
Yeah.
And felt like it was kind of picking up. And it was like, oh yeah. It was gaining a head of steam. And then
stopped. Yep, right there near the creek, but didn't go all the way to the creek, but near the creek.
It was heading in that direction, and it just stopped. And that deer had probably had an hour and a half at this point. Would you say? I'd
say so. Yeah.
And I kind of stood on the last spot. Shawn was making circles around, looking for other signs of blood, and then he kind of came back to the spot, and I'd go out and try a different set of eyes. It was just nothing. We couldn't find anything.
Both of us. I mean, this guy right here. I mean, we got a bond. He relates. He knows what I was going through. We left. We're still on the phone after I left his house and discussing on what we do next.
Yeah. And so. But basically what Shawn's leading to is that we decided to say, let's back out, we'll come back, we'll look in the morning, whatever we got to do. It was nighttime, we just decided to back out, and that's one of those tough decisions.
Yeah. It was a buddy of mine actually had shot a deer I saw on Facebook and used a drone recovery. And so went that route. I mean, this guy, I saw a lot of deer he found and called the drone guy up. That was cool. That was one of those things.
Yeah, Shawn was so tore up. He got about 15 miles from the house and got a hold of this drone guy.
I was getting ready to call the Navy. What are you talking about? Air Force?
Came back to the house.
I'm surprised the F-16's going flying over your house, buddy.
We're not waiting till the morning. No. We're not doing it.
No. Well, he's going down. This is true. So call the drone. Call the drones home. And then the drone guy was not able to find them, but as far as the education of that, it's so cool. If you've never seen it,
it was really cool. He got that thing up in the sky, and man, there was just wildlife everywhere.
You don't realize how many deer you have on your property until you put one of those thermal drones in the air, and it's eye opener.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, that's a deer, and he would go in, and the way
you wondering if it's a buck. Yeah.
The way he would check it, man, that was so cool. He would hover above that thing, and it's pitch black night, and he could switch it on to, I don't know what you call it.
LED lights. It was an LED light system he had on it.
But it would basically switch cameras from a thermal to a live camera, and those LED lights would light it up like it was daytime.
Yeah.
And he's just looking at that buck, and it just looks like it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Even the turkeys in the tree, though, you could tell if it was a tom or not. You could see a beard on the turkey on the tree. I mean, it was
incredible.
Very
we go
cool.
down, we check it. Nope, that's a doe. He'd pull up and go look for another one. One that some were walking obviously, and you'd see them walking in the creek. We even saw that one deer that was in the creek.
Yeah, with the raccoon on it.
That was expired. Tell them about that.
Yeah, they had a raccoon on it. It was literally a raccoon been eating on this deer. It was bad. It was very detailed of how long this raccoon had been eating on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this drone picks up a lot of stuff. It's certain things that, well, if it finds a deep hole of water, and everything puts off heat. We found that out.
Like the rocks in the creek, you know.
So it was
a lot of stuff, and he covered a big area.
Yeah, he did. And he'd already found one that day earlier. He was in the mountains of.
Yeah, I think it was up in Amherst County.
Yeah, it was a big day for him.
Yeah, I'm sure those guys are very, very busy this time of year, running all kinds of hours and stuff. So that technology is really neat. I'm excited to see what else comes of it, but didn't work out this time.
Didn't find it.
Wasn't because we didn't try.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean then after that happened, the next day we were out again.
Yeah, we actually we said, well, we went to work, and that afternoon.
Yeah.
We left later in the afternoon and said, well, we'll go give it one more try. While we got daylight, let's go walk that creek bottom to see, because it's a big creek.
Yeah.
That creek
is a big creek.
It's like a small river. So
really
there's
is.
lots of nooks and crannies in there where that thing could have tucked under the bank or maybe gotten underwater possibly. So we, you felt obligated, felt like we owed it to the animal, to go give it one more go.
But even the blood was more faint by that time.
Oh,
the blood, it was just, and we were discouraged at that point. And
yeah, we really were. And that was November 15th, right?
Yep.
So, let's see, what were the dates of last weekend? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
I do not. So
whatever Saturday was, December
like 2-3 weeks later.
3rd. So it was 2-3 weeks later.
Yeah.
I'm hunting with my son back in the food plots that Shawn and I were going to hunt, and we were doing a little doe patrol for a doe day, and I got a call from one of my neighbors, and it's like, hey, found this buck over here on my property. Here you guys shot one recently, and think it might be yours. I was like, well, sounds like maybe it could be. So send me a picture. So. Again, technology is great for this kind of stuff. So he texted me a picture. It was a 10-pointer. I forwarded that picture right to Shawn.
And I lost my mind.
And Shawn was so excited. I was pretty sure he was going to come at like midnight. Let's go wake the neighbor up and go get that deer.
The thing is, when I got the call, I mean, deep down inside, as soon as he told me the whole story, I'm like, it's not my deer. I said, well, because the fact of it be just too good to be true. I've never had, my son has. I take that back. The neighbor did find my son's buck, and it was about 2 weeks later, right? And then that's happened to him. But as far as me, I have never had a recovery like that. So I just said, it's just not going to happen for me.
Yeah.
And so, but when the picture came in, it was without a doubt. It was just, I lost my mind for a minute. And I did think about coming that late, but I mean, I didn't want to wake your neighbor up. I didn't care about it.
I'd have gone with you, buddy. That's all I can tell you. But we decided to wait until Sunday morning instead. So we went out there the next morning and recovered the animal. And I don't know if we were going into too many details about that, but the deer had been laying there for about 3 weeks. So
it was very obvious. I think CSI would have said that, it's 3 weeks.
And we've actually got a little video about that out there, too.
I can still get it in my nose, I think.
Man, it's a very distinct smell.
Yeah.
Very distinct smell. But
and stop us from...
No, that was not going to stop us from getting it, was it, buddy? No. So, man, that was great. I was thrilled that we had that happy ending because, like Shawn said, I've been there. I've been there this year, unfortunately, and it is a terrible, terrible feeling to think that that you're not recovering that animal. You start playing it back in your mind. Mm-hmm. What did I do wrong? Where was the shot?
Did I push it? The broadheads, right. Expandables versus fixed, all this stuff that we talk about. I mean, it's that's a big part of it. I mean, it is the whole when in doubt, back out. There's certain things that every hunt changes us a little bit, and I do really believe, because that was the other thing. That deer was found. Would you mark it as from where we were looking?
So from the last spot that we found the blood,
yep.
It did cross the creek, but in terms of a direct line, it was maybe 200 yards. 200
yards
from where we lost it.
Do I think we pushed it? Yes. I mean, I do. I might be wrong, but either way, next time, when in doubt, back out. I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna agree with that 100%, just because of the experiences that I've had recently in recent years. Not even this year, just recent years. You know, you get excited. You want to go find it. When you find that arrow and you got the blood, you're like, he can't have gone far.
Yeah.
But you just hear more and more stories about how far these bucks travel.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, whether it's bow and arrow, gunshot, muzzleloader, whatever, these animals, their will to survive is incredible. And if you just don't hit those vitals good enough to drop it within 50 yards, man, they can go for miles.
Yeah.
And when it's dark, you can't see what's going on. You don't know that you're pushing it. You're pushing it, and you're never even seeing it. So I think Shawn's right on that, and I think that's something that it's a tough pill to swallow.
The whole expandables versus fixed is a whole nother conversation on that.
That's a whole different thing. But I think backing out, if you don't see him or hear him crash, I think backing out is probably definitely the right play. Definitely going to try to incorporate that and try to cool my jets as well to see if I can't be a little bit better about that.
And me and Mike are going to shoot more 3D shoots this year. That's our plan.
Brother.
More practice all the time.
Amen, brother. This has been a fantastic hunt year. We got lots more stories to bring you, but we just felt since this ended up with redemption that we just wanted to go ahead and bring that one to you next.
I just wish I could have pictured Mike when he took it to our guy that does our Europeans with the whole truckload. It was, we had neighbors too, don't get me wrong, but this guy was sending me pictures like
and that one was smelling.
No, I won't mind.
But hey, great time, great story. We hope you all out there are having a fantastic year. We hope you all have stories like that.
Big thank you, by the way, before you stop. This guy put me on $2 this year, by the way. All right, 2. So that's all I got to say.
Seems to be a theme here. Man, I'm a heck of a friend.
Yeah, you are, but I appreciate it. I got a great place to squirrel hunt and rabbit hunt. And
Shawn did let me come hunt his place, so we'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah.
But I think that's about all the time we have for today. And anything you want to add to that?
I guess we out. That's about it.
We out. Thank y'all. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast.
Hey, if you like what you've heard today, please be sure to like, rate, subscribe, and most of all, tell your friends about us.
And for more information, check us out on Facebook and other social media or our website.
Yeah, just give us a search, Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks. And until then, we'll see you next time.
We're out.